Hey guys, it's Maymay, and I got an idea I want to try, and I thought I'd bring you along. Now, if you don't know, we have free SVG files that come with our stamp sets, and that's what I'm going to be using today. Now, I'm going to do it on my Cricut, but I have shown you how to do something very similar to this on the Scan and Cut. We'll be sure to link that in the description below. So the first thing I'm going to do, so you guys can see my screen, is get rid of the grid. I don't love the grid, and if you'll click between the double zeros up here in the corner, it goes away. The other thing I want to do is change the color of my canvas. So I'm going to go to the bottom right and click blank canvas and change the color to something I think you guys can see better. So that green works a little better. Now I need to bring in the SVG I want to use, so I'm going to go to upload. And I've already uploaded the SVG. It's right here, but if you need to know how to do that, we're going to link some videos where I show you how to do that in the description below. All right, so here's the SVG for tons of fun. It's my little elephant stamp set. And I want to use this guy right here. I don't need all of them, just him. So what I'm going to do is come to the top right and ungroup. The most important thing about an SVG is that you do not resize it. Now, this is when you're using an SVG for my stamps. These are sized to cut directly around the stamps as they are. And if you change the size or you drag that arrow, you're going to be sad because it's not going to match. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to click this little guy that I want, and I'm going to move him out of the way. Okay, now what I'm going to do is grab the rest of these guys. I'm going to group them back together, and because I don't need them, but I don't want to delete them, I'm just going to turn the eyeball off. That way, when I open this file again, if I want to use them again, they're right there. And who knows, when I get done, I might want to get one of the sentiment shapes, and I can come back to them. All right, so this is the guy we want to work with, and I want to do something with the offset that I think might be cute. I have no idea. We're going to see how it looks. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is change this guy to white because I know I'm going to be stamping him on white, and I kind of want to see how this is going to play out, okay? All right, I'm going to be playing with the offset feature in the SVG, so check this out. I'm going to go down here to Shapes, and I'm going to get a square that I'm going to turn into a card mat. The first thing I need to do is unlock it right here in the bottom left, and then I'm going to change this to be 4 by 5.25. Okay, so that's going to be a card mat for me. I'll hit enter. Now, if you're familiar with A2 card making, the size of an A2 card is 4.25 by 5.5. So I've just made this a 1/4 of an inch smaller, so I'll have a little matte edge around it. Okay. Now my idea is to have this little guy jumping up here in the top corner, so I need to bring him where I can see him. So let me move him to the front, send him to the front. I want him kind of, because the balloons are kind of carrying him away, I want him up in the top corner. But I want to do some little offsets around him, kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, but just offsets of color. So check this out. Here's what we're going to do. The first thing is I want to select our card mat, and I want to duplicate it 4 times. So I've got it once, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and that gets me 3. Maybe I want 5. Let's do another one. So now I'm going to take these guys and move them out of my way. All right. This may be a process. I don't know. We're going to see how this works. Now what I want to do is I want to slice this little guy out of here. Okay. I'm going to change the color of each of these mats as we go, so this will be easier to understand. But the first thing I want to do is slice this little guy out. So I'm going to select both my card mat and that little elephant and come to the bottom right and click slice. Okay, so now I want to move him because I'm going to use him on my next layer, and I want to get rid of this piece in the middle. I do not need it, so let me just click here and delete it. And you see now that we have this hole. This will be where I'm going to stamp my image, so inside of there. So this one is done. I don't want to mess with that one again. Now I want to get my other layer, my next layer, okay? And what I'm going to do to line them up is I'm going to take these little guys like this, and I'm going to select both, and then I'm going to go to align and do center, center. This may be overkill, but I think this is what I want to do. So next thing, I'm going to take this little guy, and I'm going to sit him right inside of there, okay, just like we had him before. Try to get him lined up really well. I tried to use my arrows. That didn't work so good. So, a little bit further down. There we go. So I've got him pretty good and lined up. Now I'm going to remove that piece that already has the slice in it. I'm going to move it out of the way. And this guy, I want him to be slightly bigger. Think what I'm doing. I'm kind of building a tunnel that he'll live in. So what I need to do is go to my offset function. And that's too big of an offset. I don't want to do 0.25. I want to try 0.10 and see what that looks like. See, 0.10 leaves me just this little bit of color. So I'm going to say apply. Now this is where it could get confusing, okay? I'm going to take my original SVG and move him out of the way. Don't need him again. Now this is my next size, right? So now what I want to do is I want to select both of these pieces and slice. Then I'll show you what we're doing. I think it'll make sense. So let's get rid of the piece we used, okay? Let's take out the gray piece. Don't delete it. Just move that little gray piece right there to the bottom. We're going to come back to him in a second. And now I'm going to change the color of this so you can see my plan. Let's change this to pink, okay? So my idea is, if this works, that I'll be adding a little tunnel of color. See how this is going to stack up? So what I need to do next is repeat that same process with my next piece. So let's move these guys over here. And then I want to bring this guy over here and the pink layer on top of that one. And we're going to do that same thing again where we're going to center these. I just think this is a fun way to try to use offset, to try to do something a little different. And I thought we would see how this works. All right, let me bring this to the front so I can make sure I'm getting it lined up right. So I'm going to line up that last cut I did, just like so, okay? I'm going to move the pink layer because it's done. Remember, that's my second layer. And now I'm going to click this SVG and do the offset, 0.10, and apply. And then I'm going to take this middle guy out. Don't need him anymore. I'm actually going to delete him because I don't need him. And then I'm going to slice these two. And I'll keep showing you what we're doing. So get that little guy out of there. Get that little guy out of there. Don't delete him. You're going to need him in a minute. Don't delete him. Put him down here. And now this one, let's change the color of so you can kind of see what's going on. And then I'm going to move him over here. I don't know. I just thought this would be kind of cute. See how the colors are kind of stacking? Let's center those so we can really see what they're going to look like. See how it's kind of looking like that's kind of cute, like he'll be living down inside of there. I'm going to do the same thing with these layers. So I'm going to bring one of these guys over, bring this purple one over. I'm going to select those two and center them. I think this will start to make sense. I'm going to take the last offset that I did and I'm going to line it up here. I definitely want it to be in the front so I can be sure that I'm lining it up correctly. Line it up like so. Then I can move the purple one back. I'm not deleting it. I'm going to use it. So I can move the purple one back over here. And now I want to offset this one with the 0.10. Very good. Grab the gray one. I can get rid of him. I'm done with him. And now I want to slice. It looks like I better stop here and I'll show you why. See how close we're getting to the top? This looks like it might be my last layer. All right, so let's move that, delete that, change the color of this one. I may or may not use these colors. I'm not really disliking them. We'll see. Let's put some yellow out there. We'll see. And then if I do this, now when I put my little elephant in, he'll look like he's in a little tunnel of color. Let's get rid of this one. All right, so let me show you again why I decided to go with that. You see how close that's getting at the top? If I did another one, this paper would be too thin for me to be able to glue it together. All right, I do not need this, so I'm going to turn the eye off on it because I don't need that to cut. What I want to cut are these layers, and I'm going to do it with my Joy because it's here on my desk. So let me say make it. Now, because I'm doing this with the Joy, I want to tell it I'm doing it on the mat. And I want to make sure that the pieces of cardstock I put in are slightly bigger than 4 by 5 1/4. Like I might want to make it like 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 to cut this out. And that way all of my pieces will be the same size. All right, that'll make sense when I put it on the mat. All right, so I'm going to say continue. Now something I like to do, I like to trick my machine, and here's what I mean. I like to tell it that I'm using glitter cardstock even when I'm not, and the reason for that is because, I'm going to click that little favorite because I use it all the time. The reason for that is because this will do a double cut. It cuts once and it cuts again. Now you can do that without using this. You just have to tell the Joy to do it again, but this way I don't have to tell it to do it twice. It will just do it twice. So we're going to use glitter cardstock. All right, let's go to the machine. Okay, now for the cut, here's what's important. You want to know what piece is your front layer and then what piece are your other layers underneath. I want my front layer to be white because I want to do a cloud design on here. I think we'll see. So these are the ways this is the way I've laid it out, okay? So my kind of tunnel of color will go that way. So what I'm going to do is turn this upside down so I start with the right one first, or the correct one first. All right, so now I'm going to put this onto my mat. And I'm going to look at my cuts and make sure I'm doing the right one first. And I've chosen glitter cardstock. So now I'm going to load this into the Joy and let it cut. So now that you've made all your cuts, let me show you what we got. I'm gonna slide these over here for a second. Now watch, when I stack all these guys up, this is what I get. And see how it's kind of a little tunnel of color for our image? But you also get these guys, which are the same shape you need, and you could do this project in reverse. So wouldn't that be cool too? So don't throw those away, hold on to those. Now let's get started with this. So the first thing I wanna do is do some clouds on here, and I'm gonna use that little cheater technique I learned. So using my 2-inch scallop punch, I dug into bin and I punched out some little white scallops. And what I'm gonna do is line these up kind of like this and tape them together. Let me glue them together. I can use this all the time if I want to. I can make this a template for when I want to make clouds whenever I want to. So let's just glue these little guys together. And this actually is the easiest way to ink little clouds I've ever seen. I saw this on YouTube. I shared this in a video one time before, and now this is our way we make clouds. So I'm just gonna kind of, I don't want them to be completely lined up. Let's do it about like that. There we go. All right, and now let's get to inking. So I'm gonna use the color Tumbled Glass, and I'm gonna take this little guy like so. Maybe I'll start at the bottom down here. Really doesn't matter where you start. You just wanna get it onto your paper, to your cardstock. And I'm gonna ink this up, and I wanna go kind of light, and I wanna go right along the edge of this as much as I can. I wanna be darker along the edge than anywhere else. So see, there's one little row of clouds, and then I'm just gonna tilt it a little bit and keep going. Look how cute that is. It is so easy to make clouds, and they just look fresh. Okay, so now let's see how this is gonna look all lined up. So if we bring these guys over and we tap them, look how cute he's gonna be popped up there in that corner. Let's stamp our image. So I'm gonna take an A2 card base. So I'm gonna score this in half at 5.5. And then fold it and crease it. Now for me, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place this guy where I want it, and I will stamp through it. As a matter of fact, I think I'll glue this down. Let me just do that. I wasn't gonna do it that way, but if I glue this down, I know where it's going. So let me do that. Now, if you're not sure about your stamping, or if you're nervous about stamping, you might not wanna glue this down first. You might just wanna make yourself some marks with a pencil or something like that to kind of reference where you need to stamp. But I think I'll be okay, and if I'm not, it's on me. It'll be on me if I'm not. Let's get that down. Because I'm stacking the pages together, I'm not going to be using foam or anything. They'll kind of create their own dimension. So this guy can go directly down. And now I've got plenty of room to stamp in there. Let's put him in the Misty just in case. Okay, so I've got him in the Misty in the corner, and I'm going to take my little stamp, and I'm just going to lay him right in there and line him up like I want him. I'm gonna have to get my head in camera for a second. Because I want to be sure he's right. And now I will pick him up and make sure everything's where I want it there, and I'll be able to stamp him. I think I'm gonna stamp him in Memento. That way if I want to use alcohol markers, I can. All right, so ink him up. And let's stamp him. He's cute just like that without all the layers, but I think the layers will make him even cuter. I'm gonna hit him one more time with ink just to make him a little darker. And there he is. Look how cute. Let's finish this guy up. With my other layers, I'm just gonna glue them together. So I'm just gonna add glue between them. Now, one thing you wanna be careful of is when you're adding glue here to around the image, you're gonna wanna add that glue to the side that's going on top, because you know this one is the larger cut. You don't want to put glue on the other side because it'll show through. All right, and then when you stack these guys together, they're the same size. So they should be able to just pick them up and stack them together. Just like that. I still got a little glue out of there. All right, let's put this one on. And now this one's gonna go on top of there. Now this may seem like overkill for a card. I think it's cute. And if you ever wanna make a fuss with a card, or if you ever wanna really just kind of do something that just literally pops off the page, this is such a great way to do it. And I have been wanting to play with offset and SVGs for a while, and I thought this was a good way to try that out. So let's put this guy here. Then we can add a sentiment, maybe color him a little bit, and we're done. Look how cute he is in the sky like that. Oh my goodness. And there you go. I think it's cute. I love how it turned out for my first try. I think if I did it again, I might do more pastel colors and see how that looks. I think it'd be really cute. Maybe more pastel-y like my markers are. Because when I got done, I thought, wow, I don't have any bright neon markers. But I still think he turned out super cute. I love how he looks in the air like that. And I hope you try it. It's a cool way to use the offset feature with your SVGs. And remember, you can go out like we did, and you can even go in. So whichever way you want to use it, who knows how you could make this work in your crafting. But you know what I want to know? I want to know how you're doing it. So I want you to share your projects with me over on our customer gallery at maymaymadeit.com. I love seeing what you're doing. And if you need inspiration for our stamp sets or the products we carry in our store, it's like our own personal Pinterest over there. Go check it out. There's lots of ideas, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So until next time, guys, thanks so much. Bye now.